Italian Football Podcast.
Right. Let's go to the next question. Andrea Bruciare says, is Antonio Conte leaving Napoli for Italy at the end of the season? It's an interesting one, this one.
Yeah, he's tempted to return to the Italy national team. I think that's clear. And as we've said before, De Laurentiis won't stand in his way. I mean, he's basically publicly admitted that. De Laurentiis is friends with Malaga, who is the favourite to become the new president of the FIGC. So I think that if Malaga comes out and makes Conte, goes to De Laurentiis and says, I want Antonio Conte to be the new manager, I think Conte won't say no, and De Laurentiis won't say no. And Conte is, according to a lot of the reports in the Italian media, he is one of the top two choices for Malaga, along with Max Allegri. So, yeah, from the latest in Italy is that Conte will sit down with De Laurentiis and Napoli at the end of the season, and they'll make a decision like they did last season when there was all the rumours about going back to Juventus, and they'll make a decision on whether to continue. To stay, Conte will certainly want guarantees like last season, a transfer market where money's spent, they'll strengthen positions, keep the key players, keep the players he wants, sell the players he doesn't want. And, the guarantees, maybe, I don't know, the medical team, something might come into that as well. I don't know. He'll want guarantees to stay. So basically, the bottom line is they're going to sit down at the end of the season and they'll make the decision then.
Yeah, look, I think it's an interesting one because what does he do? Where does he go? He's about to finish second in the league again, which means that he's coached in the Serie A for, if I'm not mistaken, 7 years. Yeah, this is his 7th year in the Serie A full season, and he's got 5 wins and 2 second spot finishes. I mean,
wow,
it's unbelievable. It is genuinely unbelievable. Like that kind of, this is why I always say that, in my opinion, he is the best league coach Italy has ever produced. No one has this level of consistency over 7 seasons, where it's 5 top spots and 2 second spots. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But the question is also, well, he wants to, he's a very ambitious man and he wants to compete in the Champions League and he wants to do something there. Napoli are never going to win the Champions League. It's going to take something miraculous, like them producing the next Maradona or Lionel Messi to build around him and try to do something like that. Italian teams, exactly like you said, will not be able to win the Champions League based on financial, strengthening on finances alone. It's just not going to happen. You need to produce a Lamine Yamal. You need to produce something like that. You need a golden generation that you bring up through the ranks that become absolute world-class generational players to compete. So I mean, it's an interesting one. Does he feel that he can win another Scudetto with Napoli? Does this Napoli squad have what it takes? Yes, I actually think that they're in a good position to challenge and win next year. I think the injuries are a problem, but they have things they need to fix. There are question marks there in the squad. Which players are too old? They need to replace. And is Conte the guy you build with? And does he accept doing that? I don't think Conte is. Conte's the guy who wants to compete now. He doesn't accept being there and saying building a 3-year project. He wants to compete in the first year. I know that his comment did not sit well with the Neapolitans when he said, I primi dei perdenti, the first of the losers when you finish second. That didn't sit well with them at all. They don't like that kind of mentality, that's Juventismo, like that kind of winning is the only thing that matters, even if you go across dead bodies and whatnot. But that's just not how they are. They don't. That's not their club, and it didn't sit well with them at all. So it is. But it was always going to be a culture clash. But it was a compromise built on the fact that they wanted to bring Napoli back to the top and stabilize them at the top. They have done that now. They've won a Scudetto. They won the Supercoppa. They're going to finish second. That's stability at the top. Well, what do you do from now on? You need to rejuvenate. You need to rebuild. You've got lots of players who are dangerously close or on the wrong side of the 30-year threshold or the 30-year mark. So you need to start to rebuild and refresh. But who do you do that with? Do you bring back Maurizio Sarri? Do you finally bring in Vincenzo Italiano? These are factors to take into consideration. And also the fact that Conte's got 1 year left on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. So all of these things will factor into this. I personally think that Conte will stay if he's allowed to get guarantees in the sense that we will fight to win the Scudetto. I think if he wins the Scudetto next season, then without a doubt he'll leave no matter what happens. But it's an interesting one. I'm very 50-50 on this. I'm very on the fence. I don't know what happens. I think there's just as much chance of him staying as is going. But if he goes, I don't think he goes to the Italy national team. I think that is just not. I think it's going to be a surprise who takes over the Italy national team if Malaga is elected. I
think Conte will only leave if he gets offered the Italy job. Otherwise I think he stays. I don't think there's any other job that's out there that could give him more possibilities than Napoli. Not in Italy for sure. And then I don't know whether he'd want to go or who would want him abroad, to be honest.
Well, I mean, the Manchester United job has always been alluring him, but Michael Carrick is going to be offered that on a permanent basis now. And then you're thinking, okay, well, who else in the Premier League? Do Chelsea bring him back? No, of course they would never in a million years bring him back. He would rip everyone, like throwing Conte into Chelsea at this Chelsea with the level of incompetence and right now.
He would not work well with that American
Todd Bailey.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you just imagine them, like him sitting on Twitter Spaces and coming into a meeting and suggesting to Conte, the fans wanted this player. Like Conte would throw a book at him.
Todd Bowley doesn't even know the rules, so I mean.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why don't you play with 11 outfield players? Like Conte would hit him.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly think, like, can you imagine, like, with Conte's, like the unbelievable.
So do you think we can win the Champions? Do you think we can win the Champions League this season after they finish 12th the season before?
Conte would hit him. Like, I can literally see Conte hitting him, physically assaulting him if he says something stupid. Like, I mean, like that's a culture clash that would never work. Right. Next question. Sean Chavarella says, question for the pod. Can Carlo please pronounce every team in the Norwegian top flight, all acronyms, thank you. And Nima to pronounce every team in the Finnish top flight table. P.S. How much extra you want a month for sub costs to have Patrick Kendrick on a weekly pod with you both? Such a legend. All three of you are class acts. Well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Okay, let me bring up the Finnish.
Okay, I'll do Norway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one second. Let me find the Norwegian league so I can correct you. Let me see. Norwegian.
Well, you'll know when I say it, but yeah.
Well, no. I just want to go. Okay, start from. Look, yeah. Start from.
I'm doing the league table. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. From 1st to 16. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tromsø.
Tromsø.
Okay. Viking. I got it right. Lillestrøm. Bodø/Glimt.
Bodø/Glimt, yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. Molde.
No, Molde.
Isn't O pronounced U?
No.
Oh, okay. Brann,
yeah.
HamKam.
Yeah, HamKam.
Sandefjord.
No, Sandefjord.
Okay. Kristiansund.
Yeah, that's not bad. Kristiansund. I don't know KFUM. There's nothing to.
KFUM.
Yeah.
Vålerenga.
Vålerenga.
Fredrikstad.
Fredrikstad is good. Yeah, Fredrikstad is good.
I don't know where this accent's going. Sarpsborg.
Sarpsborg, yeah.
Rosenborg. Okay. Start.
Yeah, Start.
Ålesund.
They're not. It's like you're imitating Danish. Like
they're all the same.
They're not all the same at all.
Right. Okay. Go then. Do Finland. And I
Finland.
won't correct you.
It's called Veikkausliiga. All right. Oulu. HJK. I don't know. It's just HJK Helsingfors. Coops. Okay. I have to actually click on them. Okay. HJK Helsingfors. Kuopion Palluseura. Inter Turku. Turun. Vaasan Palluseura. FC Lahti. And this one, oh fucking hell. Seinäjoen jalkapallokerho.
Fucking hell.
Jaro. Gnistan. That's a IF Gnistan. That's, if I'm not mistaken, they're from the Swedish speaking part of Finland. Ilves.
We said Afghanistan.
Ilves and IFK Mariehamn. There you have it. IFK Mariehamn.
Well, I'm sure you did better than me.
They're from Åland. IFK Mariehamn is from Åland, which is like a island, which is essentially Swedish speaking, but it's part of Finland. Yeah, that's cool. Right, next one. Fabrizio Perciballi says, Ciao Nima and Carlo. Nima, auguri on Inter winning the Scudetto. Hope you enjoyed the festivities in Milan. My question for this week, is it possible for no one has thought of Roberto De Zerbi as a potential candidate for the Azzurri? International experience, attractive brand of football, and a young underdog Italian. Thoughts? No, hell no. This is my Max Allegri moment that you have. Hell no, under no circumstances. He would be an absolute disaster. He has failed in his last 2 jobs at least. He's gonna get Spurs. He has. He was awful at Marseille.
No,
he was awful at Marseille. He was awful at Marseille.
He did well last season.
He fought with everyone there. It was a constant battle with everyone all the time. He can't, like, he's like Antonio Conte, but without the charm. He's just a battle axe. And hopefully he gets Spurs relegated. We can only but
pray. That I think most people agree with on that. Yeah.
We can hope that he gets.
I would say 3 jobs. His job before was Brighton. He did absolutely.
Yeah, it was all right. Yes, I said 2. I changed it to 2. No, he did all right.
He's only been at Marseille. He's had 3 games at Tottenham. So I mean,
yeah, but no, and also I just don't like it. I just cannot stand him. He's combative. He's just argumentative. He doesn't know how to handle big players. It's just going to be constant.
Well, we don't have any big players, so yeah. But yeah.
Well, no, but he gets into fights with everyone. Like it's no. Like I said, Antonio Conte, but without the charm and the win, and the winning streak. He would be a disaster. Like.
He was great at Brighton. He done well. He comes second with Marseille. I mean, come on, fucking hell.
I'm not.
Man.
Yeah, but he fought, like, there was constant beef and turmoil and non-stop, like, just arguing.
Yeah,
you want to bring someone in who just constantly fights with everyone.
Well, he didn't do that.
But you might as well bring Conte.
He didn't do that.
Bring Conte.
He didn't do that at Brighton. He didn't do that at Sassuolo.
Brighton and Sassuolo are such well-managed clubs.
Marseille is like Rome. Marseille is like Rome. It's like one of the hottest places in Europe.
Yeah,
that's going to happen. So I wouldn't put that on him. But yeah, listen, I'd rather him than Allegri. Let's say that.
No.
At least he'll develop players, and at least we won't.
And you lose 5-1 every game, and at least he's developing players. Doesn't know how to defend. No. In that case, give me Allegri.
Well, Allegri doesn't know how to attack. None of his attack.
Allegri knows how to win. Allegri knows how to win.
Well, no, he doesn't. He hasn't won for 7 years. So
he has won. Yeah. He's won the last trophy Juve won.
What, Coppa Italia, Mickey Mouse Cup? He's won nothing.
Yeah, what was that? That's a Mickey Mouse Club. You haven't been close to it since. So
Nima, I love you, but there's one thing missing in your brain with Allegri, because you can't sit here and want to reform Italian football and then be a fan of Allegri. It's just the two don't marry together at all.
They do marry.
They don't. No,
they do. They do. They do.
You can't sit here and moan about Italian football being stuck in the past and being outdated and want to help Italian football and then want Allegri to be the manager of Italy national team.
I want Italian football to also win and be successful.
They won't win because he doesn't win.
They won't win shit with Roberto De Zerbi. That's for damn sure.
It's not.
What has De Zerbi won? What?
Who's he managed to win? He hasn't managed anyone to win. Allegri's managed Juventus and Milan, and
he managed the worst Juventus teams ever, and still managed to finish in the top 4 comfortably and win a trophy. So and challenge with the worst Juve side that has probably ever existed. So nah, respect Max, man. Respect Max. This Allegri hatred needs to stop. Like it needs to stop. Nah. Now De Zerbi for the Italy national team, I don't think he deserves it. And to be honest with you,
I'm not saying I'm not saying I would have De Zerbi, but I'm saying that he actually has more. He has more to give the Italy national team than fucking Allegri does. At least he will develop some players, develop some youngsters, will make players better. He'll play a modern type of football. Whether we win or lose, we're losing anyway at the moment. So we might as well at least try and bring through the next generation, even if it's for the manager after him.
I'd rather have Vincenzo Italiano.
With someone like. Well, yeah,
I'd rather have Vincenzo Italiano. Vincenzo Italiano, I'd much rather have because he's shown that he can play in Europe. He can work in difficult circumstances. He improves players. He wins trophies. Now, 100 times Vincenzo Italiano over Roberto De Zerbi if I have to choose between them. No discussion.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I'd agree with that.
It's like, now De Zerbi, God knows. Jamie Drum says, hey guys, with Chievo winning the Scudetto, where does he rank among the all-time foreign coaches that have been in Serie A? What are your top 5 foreign coaches of all time? Well, I mean, Sven-Göran Eriksson, Jose Mourinho, Helenio Herrera, Nisse Lidholm, of course.
Yeah.
Who else?
I think those 4 have to be in it.
Yeah.
Because they won the league. Yeah. I'm just thinking you might have to go back quite.
Yeah.
We might have to go back to kind of like some of the like 50s or even 60s for some of the others, but we'll stay away from them because there were some foreign managers back then that won in Serie A. But from our lifetime or from the time where we watched, like, or where I've watched a lot of the football, is probably from like 50s, 60s onwards. I couldn't really go before that and be. I don't know.
I'd have to go with Zdenek Zeman.
I was going to say there's been influential coaches. Yeah, like
no, but that's exactly what I'm saying. I think Italian football owes such a weight of gratitude to Zdenek Zeman for the number of Italian superstars and Italian talents that he has unlocked and launched their careers under him, from Totti to Verratti. Like, that's the span. So I would surely go because of what I mean. I despise his football. I think he's absolutely bonkers. But I think if we're talking about the kind of coaches, the players that have improved under him, Italian players that have improved under him and had successful careers after they've been trained by Zeman for 1 or 2 seasons. I mean, we're talking, this is like, it's from Francesco Totti to Ciro Immobile and Verratti. Like, that's the span. So I think we have to, for just the sheer development of Italian football, what he's given to Italian football, you have to include Zdenek Zeman.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I can't think of another one other than Zeman. Not from kind of modern times. You'd have to go back a long way to like pre-1960s to find, other ones.
But Chievo is definitely building a legacy. I mean, there's no doubt about that. If he were to, if he wins the double this year, and if he continues to, if Inter are able to do what no Italian team has done since Juve won it 9 years in a row, and that is to build 2 years in a row, to win it, the Serie A 2 years in a row, and go far in the Champions League, he absolutely, we're then talking about someone who's at a very young age is building a career that is historic. Already he's historic, having won it, the Serie A, and the way that he's done it. So for sure. But I think it's very early stages when it comes to Chievo to be talking about him. I mean, he's only coached for 1 full season. We have to wait before we start talking about him as one of the all-time greats, if that makes sense. David Bacharach says, hi, Nima and Carlo, hope all is well. I'm trying not to overact to Milan's performances in 2026, but their performances are more concerning for me is their effort and energy is not good. If Milan limp across the finish line and continue to look like this until the end of the season and finish 4th, would you consider moving on from Allegri or give him 1 more season with another transfer window?
think you know my answer to that.
I'm sorry, but like this is insanity to me. Like you're talking about a club has had complete failure and no stability. He comes in and he brings some stability, and you have a squad that has no business being in a Scudetto race, and yet they were. Like like, what do you want to do? Like, I mean, I don't get it. Like he's going to get you to the top four, which is where your target was. And then from then on, you need to build. Like it's not FIFA, is it?
The issue is that Allegri doesn't build. That's the problem. He didn't build anything at Juventus. It was just fourth every single year. So Milan don't want to just go fourth under Allegri. If they do, stay with Allegri. That's fine. If you want to come fourth, stay with Allegri. But Milan fans don't want that. Milan are not Tottenham.
They finished 7th last season with Fonseca and Conceição.
Yeah, and where did Napoli finish the season before Conte?
Before Conte came.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did they finish?
Yeah, and Allegri, they won the league, but Allegri's doing a decent job. He's bringing them back to top four.
I've said what I said the other day. The first half of the season was good under Allegri.
So
you have to look at the performances. I look at the stats, and they were effective under Allegri. They didn't play good football, but Allegri teams never play good football. I've no problem with that. They were effective. They were creating a lot more than they were conceding. They were scoring a lot more than they were letting in. They were effective. They were getting results. They were decent good in the big games. The second half of the season has been horrendous on every level, in terms of the performance, in terms of the results, in terms of the underlying stats, and offensively, it's a horror show. I don't think people realize how bad offensively Milan's stats are. They are so bad. It's unbelievable. To go through the attackers and how many goals they've scored and created in 2026 is actually off the charts. Leao, 2 goals in 4 months. Pulisic, 0 goals in 5 months and 1 assist.
There have been injuries as well, and you can't should remember that.
1 goal. Fulkrug, 1 goal in 2026. Nkunku, 0 goals in 4 months. Jimenez, 0 goals all season.
You're reading those names, and then you tell me
these
that
numbers are off the charts.
Problem. And that's an Allegri.
How many? Really?
What? And that's an Allegri because Niklas Fulkrug was going to be capocannoniere.
What about Pulisic? What about Pulisic?
Yeah, what about Pulisic? He's been injured. They've been injured. They've had injury problems.
No, they haven't. How many games? How many games has Pulisic played in 2026? How many
they've
games
been playing injured? We know that they've been playing injured.
It's always an excuse for Allegri. Always. You cannot defend those stats at all. They're undefendable. They're undefendable.
They are because Nkunku and Fulkrug are maybe not good enough. Santi Jimenez, I mean, you can't make chicken soup with chicken shit, and in this instance, it's.
I don't think anybody would call Pulisic chicken shit. He had. I
didn't say Pulisic. I didn't mention Pulisic's name. I said he's been injured for most of the season, and that's just a fact. We know that. And same thing with Leao. They played.
Pulisic was injured in the first half of the season.
He's carrying. There is an injury problem there. There is something there. He's not he's not moving in the same way that he used to, and it's got nothing to do with Allegri. You can't just blame Allegri for everything that goes wrong. I mean, it's
the onus isn't on me. The onus is on it's not on my side. The numbers are there as proof on my side.
Yeah, and you also have to look at the players that are playing there. I'm sorry, but if the answer to your question, if you provide Niklas Fulkrug, Santi Jimenez, and Nkunku, you're asking the wrong questions. Like
I'm providing Christian Pulisic and Rafa Leao's not just their numbers, their performances. Everything. And that is on Allegri. 100% on Allegri. It can't be on anybody else. As simple as that. It can't be on anyone else. Pulisic has 0 goals in 2026, Nima. Yeah. 0 goals.
He's not looking fit. Like, if you watch him play, he doesn't move like Pulisic. When Pulisic is fit, he's like
Pulisic has missed one game.
Laser goes at goal.
Pulisic has missed 1 game since the end of November. He's
not he's not fully fit. It's clear that there's a problem there because he's not moving like he used to. But when he came to Milan, he was much more direct. He had more
Because of
pace, he had more
Allegri. Because
dynamism.
Allegri's destroyed him. That's
Oh,
the point.
stop it!
That's the point. Allegri's
Allegri's
destroyed him. There's no
destroyed
injury.
him.
There's no injury. With
No,
Pulisic.
there's no injury.
There's no injury with Pulisic. Who? Show me. Quote me someone telling me there's an injury.
Pulisic and Leao have had injury problems all season. They're not fully fit.
The injuries with Pulisic was in the October with the international break. That's when he was injured.
He's not moving. Like, we'll see. We'll see when we go to the World Cup and he starts talking about the season he's had and why he's had it, and we'll see what's going on. Because it's clear that there's a fitness issue with him. He's not moving in the same way. It's got nothing to do with Allegri. When a player can't accelerate, when he literally doesn't accelerate the way he used to, then you can't blame the coach that there's a physical problem there. But it's
well, you can when you've had the same issues with attackers and offensive players throughout his time at Juventus in his second spell.
And what fantastic attackers did he ruin at Juve? I'm sorry, but again, Arkadiusz Milik, Vlahovic, who was a disaster since he joined. I mean,
yeah. Why was he a disaster? Was it not? That's nothing to do with Allegri at all. It's just all on Vlahovic.
Well, then why is it that since Allegri left Juve, he's been shit? He's been 7 different shades of shit since Allegri left.
I wouldn't say he's been shit, but
he's been good, has he? Well, even with Spalletti, who's a coach who's known for playing a certain style of football and improving players. How good has he been? I mean, you can't just blame Allegri for everything. Like
Milan have 1 goal in their last 5 games. 7 of their last 10 games, they haven't scored in Milan. They had on Sunday. They had the lowest XG of a Milan team on record since stats began. 0.27, the lowest ever XG ever. Allegri is completely indefensible. This is your one weakness, Nima. I'm sorry to go on.
It's no weakness. It's my superpower. No. It's my superpower. No.
Well, maybe it's superpower, weakness, whatever. It's your one layer of. It's your one area of what that's just missing in you, Nima. Other than that,
your hatred of Allegri is misguided. It's
not misguided because I love Italian football and I want.
I love Italian football too. He's one of the most successful coaches in Italian football history.
Yes, in the past. So is Jose Mourinho, but Jose Mourinho has been finished for years.
Well, Real Madrid is considering hiring him again.
Trapattoni is 84 years old. I'm not going to sit here and say Trapattoni should be the Italy.
We're not comparing Allegri with Trapattoni. We're not comparing Allegri with Trapattoni. Like, that's insane. He's 84.
I'm using an example of an old person that was brilliant.
He's no longer relevant. That old.
No, but he's no longer relevant. He's finished as a top coach, and the fact that you actually want him to be the Italy national team manager, and you can't apportion any blame to what's happened to Milan in the second half of the season. I mean, it's just insane. You're apportioning zero blame.
He was overperforming with Milan. He was overperforming with Milan. I mean, it's just that.
And what's the second half of the season? So what's the second half of the season?
Well, regression to the mean. That's why league seasons always at the end of it, everything balances out, and you actually see who has managed to consistently overperform, who has managed to regress.
If you want to get away from the me versus you and Allegri, if you ask me as a fan and as a club, what would I look into in terms of going into the next new season? You will always, regardless of who the manager is, you will always look at the second half of the season. And if your second half, if it had been the other way around, if Milan had been bad in the first half of the season, and in the second half of the season, they'd started to step it up and they were improving, players were improving, the football was improving, the results and the stats were improving, then you'd say, well, look at us, we're on the way up and we can take this into the new season. This gives us hope to back the manager. It's completely the opposite with Allegri. With Allegri, it's the first half of the season was good. The results were good. The hard stats, the underlying stats were good. And you're thinking, okay, this is good. I even said it myself. I said, if Milan continue like this, they can be in a Scudetto race. I said that. That's got, you'll remember me saying that. But
yeah, I know. But the
second half of the season has been unmitigated disaster. You can ask any Milan fan. It's been horrendous. The performances have been horrendous. The stats are horrendous, and the performances of the players has nosedived. Now, if you're the Milan club or you're a Milan fan, what you're looking into the new season, you're thinking, bloody hell, we're taking this into the new season. Things don't just magically we had these same arguments with Juventus. Before every new season, we were like, well, The second half of the season, because the second half of the season was nearly always abysmal with Allegri, nearly always with Juventus. So there was no hope, no energy, nothing to get excited about going into the new season because they were coming off a disastrous second half of the season. And this is the same issue that Milan are going to find themselves going into the next season.
No, we'll see what happens. I mean, I still think the whole thing is exaggerated.
Well, what we do know is that him and Forlani, not that I particularly rate Forlani, but I'm saying what we know is that those two are in a similar loggerheads like Ranieri and Gasperini were. So it looks like one of the two has to go.
Yeah, one of the two has to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so there's a power struggle there, which is not.
Yeah.
Which is why I said a few weeks ago, the end of the season for Milan is going to be important because I think it would be important also from that reason. Who do they back? Well, if Milan end the season the way they're ending it, then they're making the decision. Do we go with Forlani or do we go with the manager who's just coming off a horrendous 6 months? He's not in a strong.
Well, Forlani is not exactly. You can ask any Milan fan about Forlani, and
no, I agree. But I'm just saying, it doesn't put Allegri in a position where he can say, well, Forlani's been shit, but look at my side. Well, Forlani will say, well, look, what have you done on the pitch in the last 6 months? So it's
because he bought players that Allegri didn't want. That's coming out as well. Carlo Pellegatti said that Allegri just basically was not interested in any of the players that he bought. Right. And next question, Daniel Ljungström says, "Hey fellas, do you think..."
The last one because I have to go.
Yeah, we will. We can do two more, just two more. Daniel Ljungström says, "Hey fellas, do you think Juve should consider to give Douglas Luiz another try next season? He's got 30 million left on the books this summer. Juve won't be able to get anything near that after spells about Nottingham and Aston Villa. As you know, Spalletti has a proven record of improving, relaunching midfielders, and I believe Douglas Luiz would fit his system much better than he did with Motta and Tudor."
Robbie Bancanero asked the same question, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna read that. I'd probably give it a shot rather than loaning him out and cover half his wage. Robbie Bianconero says, "Hey boys, with Douglas Luiz destined to come back after a Juve disastrous loan spell, do you think he would be a player that Spalletti could rejuvenate, or is his time at Juve finished?" It's an interesting question. What do you think?
I just think that when I watch Douglas Luiz, it's like all the power has been zapped out of him. It's the same thing with Koopmeiners as well. Not that Koopmeiners ever was he was never quick, but he had that verve and that kind of something about him. Do you know what I mean? And Douglas Luiz has never been a quick player, but he's always been really sharp over 5 yards, keeps the ball, boom, 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 moves it around, so, and it's like, you watch him and it's just like, just had all the power taken out of him, like Samson after he had his haircut. Like it's just there's nothing in him anymore, and he looks like somebody that's 30. He looks like a 32-year-old, 33-year-old in the terms of his physical, side of things. If you know what I mean, like I'm maybe not explaining that very well, but that's the way I look.
No, but he does look completely devoid of energy. Like it's it's weird what's happened to him.
Yeah, Koopmeiners is the same. Koopmeiners is the same. Koopmeiners is just someone that just looks like he's treading water all the time.
Yeah, it's weird. It's really weird. It's really, really weird. And it's like, what do you do? Can Spalletti work with him? I don't know. Is it worth Spalletti trying to? And is Douglas Luiz is even interested in that?
Well, they're not going to have any choice. He's going to end up coming back because they're not going to keep him. So then they're going to have to make a decision. What do we do with him? And Juventus have weighed so many of these, but Juventus are literally the Italian Man United. Like they just, in every way, how badly that club is run. And also with, like I said before, players that were bought for big money, on big salaries, long contracts, and they're impossible to sell because their value and performance has dropped so much that nobody wants to spend the money that Juventus need to receive in order to avoid a capital loss on the books. So what ends up happening is they just have to keep loaning them out every season until the value on the books drops enough that they can actually then get rid of them. And that just takes years and years to happen because they're on long contracts and big wages. So it's just a nightmare. And Douglas Luiz is in the same position as Arthur Melo, as probably Openda's going to be. How the hell do Juventus ain't getting rid of Openda? Koopmeiners is another one. I think they've got 4 players there that they're just going to have to end up keeping loaning out all the time.
And pay part of their wages as well.
Yeah. It's
mental.
it's financial
Absolutely
disaster,
mental.
and it really holds back the club ever building. You know, it's like it did with Man United, but it's worse with Juventus because at least Man United have so much money coming in with TV money that they can. It kind of doesn't matter as much. A bit like Chelsea as well with Lukaku. You couldn't get rid of him, so let's keep loaning him out every year. And Juventus have like 3 or 4 of these players, and it really holds the club back. It's a disaster. The club is just a disaster.
No, it's really poorly run. And but you know what does Spalletti do? Can he get inside his head and do something with him? You know, and same thing
if it's become a physical issue because the player is just past his best physically now, then there's nothing he can do really.
No, but I'm thinking more if he can get inside his head, if it's a off the pitch issue that he's living an unhealthy lifestyle. But Spalletti can get inside his head and try to, you know, and get him to find that fire, because which Spalletti is actually pretty good at doing. He's done so in the past, and if he's able to get inside the players' heads and build a unit and build a you know, something like that, then it'd be interesting. It's definitely an interesting question, but you know, it's the same thing with Teon Koopmeiners. What happens there? I think both of them are kind of linked. Like, what do you do? It's an interesting question, and it's just, you know, what Openda to me is just. I was against that signing when they did it. And what do they do with Jonathan David? I mean, as well, you got another question. You got another player like that. Although
Jonathan David at least is more sellable.
Yeah,
because he has a market in France, you know. So I think at least he's more sellable. As awful as he is and as he's been, I think there is a market for him.
Yeah,
and he was signed on a free transfer as well, so there isn't that issue on the books. But Openda, unsellable. Actually, unsellable. They've paid 40-something million for him as well.
I don't understand why they didn't just get what's his name when who went to Tottenham.
Colin Warner,
yeah, he was working. He was working well. Like it was a dumb decision. Like they make a lot of weird decisions at Juve. Yeah, so we'll see. Right, that's all the questions we had time for this week. Those of you who have sent in your questions and your questions have not been answered, we will be carried forward them to next week. So don't worry about that. And the rest of you who are patrons and members, please do send in your questions via DM on Patreon. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you consume your podcasts, or watching this clip as the second clip of the weekly Q&A show on YouTube, if you want to become a member, patreon.com/TIFP or youtube.com/@ItaFootPod memberships. Go to memberships and become a member and watch the entire FOD without ads, without interruption, and you can send in questions, and you also help support the show. We'll be back next week with a full review of the weekend's action. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ciao, ciao. Hey, everybody. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like, share, and comment below. Let us know your thoughts. Also, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you never miss any of our content when we upload it. It really helps us grow and bring you more stories like this. And also, don't forget to follow us on our social media for extra clips, updates, behind-the-scenes content. We have the same handle everywhere. It's @ItaFootPod. The link is in the description below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.